the bottom right, we have in red the Terran. For Team Prime it is.
Byun Prime.
Quite a few fans for Byun cheering in the audience.
He's playing on the North American server under the ID Puppy King, and he held the top ranks for quite some time now. He's always one who struggles a little bit with the Muslim for achieving the top rank. His opponent to the top left currently in blue, the NSH starting player, the Protoss, calls himself
NSH MadBull.
We'll see if he's seeing red or not today.
Yep. MadBull actually called himself Mad Cow for quite some time, and then he probably thought that the nickname was a little bit too tame to express his personality and changed it to MadBull.
Yeah, and you know, in English there's a disease, the mad cow disease, so he may not have wanted to be associated with that either.
Well, we have to find out if he's able to take down Byun today. The thing about Byun is that he is really beasting it up on ladder. He actually has a personal stream. If you are on Twitch regularly, you will have seen the stream. If not, then check it out. He streams nearly every single day and is laddering it up. Not only on the North Korean, North Korean server would be quite interesting. That would be a fierce battle. Not only on the North American server, that's what I wanted to say, but also on the South Korean server.
Right.
And he is actually on Grandmaster in the top 10 on both of them. So it's really interesting to watch his style. A very aggressive player. And one of the matchups where he's really strong, which is exactly why I worry a little bit about the NSH team today, is his TVT. His TVT is incredible. And the one heavy hitter that NSH has in their lineup is a Terran. It's Jagchi. So if Jagchi is the only one who can, from a talent point of view, beat Byun, then I feel it's going to be very difficult for NSH, since TVT is one of the matchups where Byun really excels.
Yeah, he really does. And Jagchi may come out. In fact, he probably will if it comes to NSH's last legs, which, given the statistics, will probably occur. But I like what Byun is opening with here. He's playing pretty straight up. He goes for a command center first, goes into double barracks. He knows he's on a relatively large 4-player map. And so MadBull probably not going to scout him or punish him early. In fact, by the time the probe gets there, the barracks will already be done. And so he can't even really harass the SCV that's building the command center. So this works out quite nicely for Byun. And MadBull, he hasn't taken a second gas, so it looks like he's just going to be playing a 1-gate expand.
Yep. Byun came out 5 times this season. He all killed against the Zubu, took down Supernova, Mines, San, and Symbol. And then he also played a game in the match against Startail, where he was the last player for his team, up against Live. Live, on the other hand, he was the only player this GSTL season who defeated Byun so far. And today, the strong Terran player for the Prime team wants to add a few additional kills to his CV, so let's see if he can actually pull that off. We now have him with the double barracks already, and he's playing it quite safe now with the bunker already at the front, of course. We have the expansion up for him. Whereas MadBull just now finished his Mothership Core. Yeah, Mothership Core out. He skips the Stalker, not putting on any forward aggression. So he's going to be happy with the fact that Byun's already committed this much resources to a very fast bunker. Because he's getting his Nexus up relatively quick. He has the Mothership Core to build energy. And he's now going to be able to go comfortably into whatever tech he chooses, which will probably be robotics tech. The build that Byun chose here is very safe. He already has a lot of production going on. He was focusing a lot on the bio units and the Marines. And this is one of the things that I feel he needs to do here. MadBull is known for a bit of a crazy style and for taking a huge amount of risks. So you need to be a little bit careful when you face him and just play it safe. Yeah. The one thing that Byun can really rely on is that in a long drawn-out game, he is the one who has the better mechanics. So that's something that that we have to take into consideration here. Him playing it safe on the first map is, in my opinion, the best choice that he could go for. I could not agree more. But, you know, MadBull is trying to go for that late game as well. The robotics I was talking about is now finishing, and he's getting 2 forges. So whenever you see the double forge like this, it means that the Pross either has some sort of very specific timing attack thought out, or more likely, he wants to play for the late game with a gateway-heavy composition, especially oriented around charged zealots. And we'll see how this kind of develops, because on this map, at these positions, it's not as easy to use that very strong drop play as we've seen on other maps, and the drops will, of course, be delayed because he went for a command center first. The one thing that I really have to say about Byun is that his mechanics in general are incredible. I've watched his stream a lot, and the one thing that's kind of interesting to see is how he always, faces the Muslim, because they are, on the same MMR and trying to compete for the first spot on ladder. And sometimes, even when there's nothing happening, no big engagement, suddenly Byun pulls ahead in a mirror match by 50 supply. which is insane. It's crazy. There's nothing going on, no big fights, and suddenly there's a 50 supply lead for Byun while being on the same upgrades, on the same amount of bases, and you just look at the map and you're like, what happened? And it's just like, this kid is so good. And what happened there?
Yeah, he was trying to pick off an SCV and he gets it, but...
Okay, guys, this was a little bit weird because you never want to lose one of your stalkers, and the trade against an SCV is strange. This is why we didn't even like mention it when it happened, because the one thing that should happen immediately is like a pullback.
Yeah, we were thinking like, he's just going to kill the SCV maybe, or at least damage it a little bit and dance back. I guess he was, you know, focusing on making those gateways back at home. He has to have that massive upgrade lead, which is going to continue going forward here. He does not have a Twilight Council, but having the 1-1 this early is going to help him quite a bit. He's got the robotic support beta start Colossi.
I would actually be very surprised to see MadBull heading into a very long and drawn-out game. And here we have now additional gates being added as well as the Twilight Council. I think what his best chances here really are to try to hit a timing. That's the best chance that he has to defeat a player like Byun. The thing if you play StarCraft is heading into the first, let's say, 10 minutes of the game, a lot of the things are very scripted. You know exactly what to do, when to do it. You, of course, have to adjust your build in case your opponent attacks you and depending on what you scout. But the longer the game progresses, the more freestyling you have to do. And I feel this is the area where Byun is way much stronger than MadBull. So for MadBull to go for a 2-base timing attack, I think this is the best thing that he could do in this scenario and try to just surprise his opponent.
And it looks like we're going to see perhaps that a few gateways being added here. Now, what he could do is try to hit a timing with range on his Colossi and 2-2 and just try to attack Byun when he has that upgrade lead, when he has that Colossus range before there are enough Vikings out. And Byun is actually moving across the map right now with a pretty decent army size, but I don't know how much damage he's really going to be able to do considering the upgrades of MadBull and also the Mothership Core being active at this moment in time. The best he can hope for, I think, is going for those drops into the main base, boosting in, trying to split MadBull, because MadBull has good upgrades. He has a decent amount of tech with that Colossus coming out, but his army size in sheer numbers is actually quite small, as you can see here.
We have a third base now coming up for Byun. He starts with this aggression, but he wants to follow it up with an expansion too. And as already mentioned, MadBull is the one who pulls ahead in upgrades. But the army size for Byun is quite incredible. He doesn't have combat shield just yet. He needs to wait a little bit longer. But now MadBull knows that he has to be very careful here. And he needs to make use of those gateways now.
Yeah, he really, really does. He wants to get that second Colossus. The Mothership Core now active. Stim and run in, but you see, he just cannot fight against that firepower of that Colossus.
And we also now, of course, have the Photon Overcharge, but the Mothership Core is already gone. The Time Warp is good, though. Maybe the Medivacs with a drop into the main base, but at this point, MadBull is just happy that he was able to defend this well. And of course, the Mothership Core, as pointed out, playing a huge role in this.
Yeah, you know, Byun had the sheer numbers. I'm talking about he has a lot of Marines he can split into different directions to have done a multi-pronged attack. He tried to go for the Blunt Force, going in right up that ramp, but with the Colossus there, with his lack of combat shields until the last second, he wasn't able to do it. He's going to go for a follow-up pressure here. But the second Colossus is active now, and 2-2 is just about to finish for MadBull, so that upgrade lead is starting to play a big role in this game.
Range is nearly completed. That will help the Protoss player a ton, and now the Terran player is still trying to look for an angle to engage. Don't forget that he is already on 3 bases now, so he is going to take the lead in economy. MadBull trying to get more firepower into the game, and his +2/+2 is nearly done, as Wolf just mentioned.
Yeah, look at the pylons to the bottom left of the map. He's got this creeping pylon force that looks like he's going to go for an attack relatively soon after he holds off this drop aggression. But the longer that Byun keeps him preoccupied, the more he gets out of that third base, the third command center, which is now saturated for Byun.
Keep in mind that this is also one of the few games that MadBull has played in the booth here. This is an offline environment, and there's a lot of pressure on the player. Even when you say, okay, NSH is the underdog, so they can play a little bit more lighthearted here. The problem really is being in the booth, one of the first times, you are usually pretty nervous.
Yeah, very much true. Zealot run by here is going to kill a few SCVs, maybe even pull some off the line, and this is going to force Byun to react. And there's a probe at the third base for MadBull. He could actually start a third Nexus here. Not what I expect to see. But, you know, he's really, really heavy on the tech for 2 base. I mean, he's going into 3-3 and a Temple Archives on 2 base. It looks like he needs to take a third, and there it is.
He takes the third base. He's going to +3/+3. Not really what I expected here from him. I'm really interested to see if he's able to pull it off. He's heading into the late game now against a very strong player, one of the best late game players that we have here in Korea. Byun now on his way to get +2/+2. He's still way behind in upgrades, which is of course the one disadvantage that he has in this game.
Yeah, and he's going to try to do some drops to make up for it. He's got 2 medevacs in position on the right side of the map, and he's sending a force to attack directly by ground through the middle of the map as well. So what he can do is draw the force into the main where they already are, and then try to hit the Nexus. The problem is the Nexus is not where he expects it to be.
And here we go, another attempted run by, but a few units for Byun already in position. And the advantage for MadBull really relies on the upgrades. But if you look at the supply alone, then the Terran player is really taking quite the lead. And this will only increase over time, since this expansion has been running for a long time now. The third, that is, of course. And the third base for MadBull is not ready just yet.
Yeah, you can see that the Viking count is getting a little bit higher as well. He's now up to 6, and he's adding those ghosts in for the Templar switch. So Byun building the right composition, and that third base is really the reason why he has that supply lead. As you said, he had that command center so early, and this allows him to, of course, power up those barracks, get more and more units out. This is something that MadBull has not been able to do until his third base is up, and now finally he can add more gates, but he's been really focusing on those upgrades and the tech.
I really like, though, how MadBull currently defends against those drops. He's always in position, and that's really something that helps him a lot to withstand this pressure that Byun is executing. Those run-bys are also pretty awesome. They keep Byun on his toes.
Yeah, this is a lot of Zealots coming in, and they now have 3/3, so this is not something he can ignore. He may, in fact, even lose a Ghost here.
And in the middle of the map, the army of Byun is being pushed back. A nice blink forward, but a little bit out of position.
There's also a drop at the third base of MadBull, which seems to be doing a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, this time he's doing the damage. There is no warping just yet. Storm is on its way. We still have Zealots at the bottom right, though, taking out Harvesters. And the one thing that defends here at the base is, of course, the Photon Overcharge. The Nexus Cannon is active, and the Mothership Core even drops a Time Warp.
Yeah, it looks like he will be able to warp in a few more Zealots here to defend the attack. The drops are going to get away.
And MadBull actually playing this really well.
Yeah.
We have the Prime player building up a bank, which is going to be important later on, heading into +3 attack. But this is the time when MadBull is the strongest. He's on nearly the same supply as Byun. He has better upgrades, and he has now Storm finished.
Exactly. He has all the cards as far as armies go, and he's going to move out across the map. Don't forget, there are some ghosts for Byun, but it's all about the EMPs and the snipes.
He needs to do damage now. If he can do, if he can get a good position with Storm, with Colossi, with +3/+3, this is the time for MadBull to shine.
Yeah, he has 6 Templar. Looks to be, though, mostly using them for defense right now. He doesn't have any in his main army, but he can warp some in. The problem is, of course, he'll have to wait for the energy if he does that. Now they're walking across the map a little bit slow, lagging behind that army. He needs to make sure he defends them, protects them from Marauder snipes, protects them from those EMPs.
There comes the scan, sees everything. A few Zealots once again running in at the natural, doing damage. I really like how he does it.
Very positional as well. He's trying to draw Byun away so he can get the better spot with his army.
Very positional play here. Now the Sensor Tower is, of course, up and reveals the movements of MadBull's army.
Yep. Very nice positioning here, but with the Sensor Tower, Byun knows at all times exactly where that bulk of the Protoss army is. He knows, okay, I can defend these Zealots because the Protoss army is a little bit further away. The Sensor Tower is so crucial. He can also see the Templar. He knows the Templar are those units that are on the edge, the slower ones that lag behind the army.
Another run by already on progress. We have the Zealots heading over to the third base. 70 Harvesters to 76. MadBull playing a really good game here.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to do this well. And now he's even taking a fourth base. I have to say that I'm really impressed.
I'm starting to worry a little bit for Byun because he has to do something about this. He needs to...
The bull is charging.
The bull is charging, man. He backs up, but Byun needs to do something about this base. He blocks with the factory, which of course is going to be annoying for a brief period of time, but he needs to do more. He needs to get his own fourth base, and he's just pinned down by these Zealot run-bys and the Colossi poking at the army, the good storms that he's using to just delay him so he can get that bank with the fourth base.
The Storm here was really good, zoning out those Vikings, and a great feedback, double feedback against the Ghost. Another Storm to just save the retreat, and this is really well done by MadBull here. Moving in at the third, and Byun is under pressure. This could be a rodeo that he's going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Byun is in trouble. He's losing way too many SCVs here, and it looks like MadBull is picking him apart like a crab or something. You know, he's getting inside, finding Byun's meat, and he's taking it out.
I completely agree with you. The NSH player is now suddenly up 10 supply. Was even a little bit more earlier. He still has a lot of resources. He has the gas. Byun, on the other hand, is relying only on minerals. And look how careful MadBull always engages at one spot while he sends over a few units to the other side of the map.
Yeah, Byun needs gas. He needs it badly. He's dumping all of his gas into these ghosts right now. He has a great army, but if he loses it just one time, it's going to be so much harder for him to remake it. And that's one thing he does have. The advantage he has is his army is bigger because he has less harvesters. It's 75 to 52, so about 23 of Byun's supply better is going to be in that army.
I'm a little bit worried about the Colossus production that we see of MadBull. There are already 19 Vikings out on the map. The one thing that MadBull has to rely on is his Archon positioning in the storms, because he doesn't have too many Stalkers to deal with the Vikings. He needs the area effect spells and the area effect damage of the Archons.
You're absolutely right. He cannot afford a misengagement. All that Byun needs to do is take one solid fight, kill those important units, the Colossi and or the Templar, and then he's going to be able to use that momentum to take out one of the MadBull's bases. MadBull also has that Dark Shrine. We didn't really talk about that too much, but this is going to allow him even further harassment of Byun.
Yeah. The Dark Shrine could be really important, especially in the later stages of the game. The more bases Byun takes now, the more difficult it's going to be for him to defend against run-bys with Dark Templars, with the Zealots, and this is the bread and butter of MadBull's play.
Yeah, MadBull is playing like a god right now. He's sending now the DTs over on the right side. He knows that Byun is hurting for resources. He's trying to force more scans. He is heavily committing to DTs. That's like 5 or 6 DTs over there that he's committed to, but it doesn't matter because he knows that Byun has to be careful of his strong Colossus-heavy army. He can't be in two places at once.
MadBull has Byun on his horns, but he needs to be careful. He can't be condescending here, because at this point, he really is the one with the advantage, but he needs to push it at some point and find the right opening. Byun is a player who will always bounce back. If you allow him to get a grasp, a hold of the situation, he will take it and he will crush you like a fly.
Absolutely true. More Zealot run-bys coming in through here. You know, as soon as you think you're good, you have a turret up for the DTs.
Nice.
That's when 4 Zealots come in, picking off the Ghost, forcing yet another lift on that Command Center. Byun is in trouble. He needs to make something work here. He's being very patient.
Good EMPs, though.
Yeah, and he's trying to build that Ghost count up. If he can get the Ghost count up extremely high, then he's going to have virtually unlimited snipes and EMPs to use, and he just has to be patient here and try to hope for the best, try to turtle here.
And let's not forget that MadBull behind this is always taking base after base. The guy is already up at 5 bases, whereas the Prime player is just struggling to claim his 4th.
Yeah, really, really great play by MadBull. I'm so impressed. I love what Byun is doing, though. He's just turtling and hoping for a mistake of MadBull. He even got building armor right now to help his buildings out. He is in full turtle mode right now. He knows that if MadBull makes a poor engagement with his main army, he can actually win this game.
Let's not forget, though, that we have a lot of money banked up for MadBull, so he could always use those warp gates to warp in again. And look what he's currently getting. He's building more and more gateways. He knows that with a lot of production, he can immediately remax as soon as the fight starts and he's starting to lose units. That's very important for him here. I really love that he's doing this.
Yeah, right now he has, in fact, already 16, and that's... Oh, that was a 6 storm on the Vikings! Can he get another one? No.
No, the ghosts are there. But another run-by. Once again, he's drawing the units to the right, and then he attacks at the left. A good position here, but this time Byun is ready with a few Marines, but they also struggle against the DT that's here.
Yeah, and you know what? He actually trades pretty evenly against this, and he's got the better economy, so the more he does this, it's actually fine.
And he's still taking out SCVs.
This is looking worse and worse for Byun all the time. Like I said, he really just needs to have one perfect engagement against the MadBull army.
One thing that is becoming crucial, though, is that even though we have the Prime player losing SCVs, he doesn't really build more workers. So he is actually ahead in army supply. Will be soon a 6 storm here by MadBull. That was beautiful. Exactly what he needed here.
Yeah. But you're so right. He's not building any more SCVs. He's trying to make an army that's stronger and wait for MadBull to make a mistake with his engagement. If he catches that Colossus to the right side, you know, too many times, or he eliminates all of the Templar with some good snipes, then maybe he can actually just walk across the map and kill him with a better army before MadBull can remax. But with all the gateways MadBull is adding and the continued attacks here and the bank that he's building, I just don't know if it's possible.
There come the first few EMPs. A lot of ghosts here currently for our Prime player. 20 in total.
Yeah, he's just continuing to build him. He's about to have the 21st there. And he's got so much energy on these ghosts. Of course, this makes him vulnerable to feedback, so if he snipes properly, it shouldn't be an issue for him. He's trying to go out on the offensive now and get a good engagement on these Colossi. Here we go.
Here we go indeed. The Colossi trying to escape. We have a couple of EMPs here. At the same time, the Storm is hitting. But now suddenly it's MadBull who's on the retreat here. We have Byun with even more Vikings being built.
I think it's time for MadBull to throw away some probes here. He needs to make an army that's a little bit stronger. He's basically 25 supply down when it comes to army. When it comes to his probe count, he's 75 to 49 here.
Wolf, as soon as those Colossi are gone and MadBull remaxes with gateway units, the Vikings will be useless. There are 24 of them.
Yeah, and he just needs to have a forward warp-in point. He's got a few pylons on the edge of the map. Great
The problem
EMPs.
here is positioning for MadBull. He's being pushed back, and Byun is the one who claims the better position with all those ghosts that he's using now.
Really good storm on the Vikings again, though.
I don't really agree with that time warp, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just he was desperate because he knew he was going to lose his Mothership core, but again, good engagements by Byun. He's picking the army apart. Of course, it gets really easy for MadBull to remax with Templar, but
look at the resources that we have for the NSH player. 5,000 minerals, 1,000 gas. This is incredible. He's still in a good position here, but he needs to do something because Byun is now on 4 bases. Yes, MadBull still had 1, but still, this is getting a little bit concerning.
Yeah, Byun is playing this like a genius. He's just so painfully patient here. It's so difficult for MadBull to actually end this game with the army composition he's facing, with all the probes he has, and he's engaging into a bad position again. The Stalkers blink forward, but he loses a lot of his expensive units here.
Byun is the more experienced player, and he definitely shows a great EMP hitting the army of MadBull, and the Protoss player retreats.
Yeah, his entire army now low on shields, and the Vikings are going to chase. The Ghosts doing a lot of DPS. Remember, Ghosts have a ton of hit points, and he's actually just pushing through here. Byun continues the chase, and MadBull using that bank to warp in harassment units, but he has to be careful. He can't afford to do that too many times and then lose his bases.
And his host up player with a lot of resources that he could use here. Both of them are roughly the same supply. Every single time we have another force sent over to those bases, to the satellite bases of Byun. And he is really trying, the Protoss player, to pick off those Vikings to finally make those units count. But as you can see, every single time he loses a Colossus, he is going into gateways. He does not rebuild Colossi. He realized that he has to change it. He needs to go to the ground.
Yeah. Byun getting a good concave here, but is his army big enough? The Storm is on the Vikings here. Very, very nice.
And the Storm's also good against all those ghosts, but now suddenly the supply is in favor of Prime player for just a second. They are both still very even, but look at how suddenly we have a max out with more and more Zealots and also a few Colossi being built.
Yeah, now he knows he hit a lot of those Vikings with his Storms. He's weakened them. He knows he can continue to make those Colossi. He has a lot of Templar that he's been warping in back at home as well that now have enough energy. I mean, we're talking 12 Zealots at a time he's warping in. That's 1,200 minerals, and he can afford it. Another engagement here. Blanket EMP is all over that army.
There comes another Storm. Really well done, saving the retreat here.
Byun's problem, of course, is his economy. He's been harassed to no end this entire game, and he can't afford to lose 5 Marines to a Storm because he can't remake them. He's so low on resources. I mean, we're talking he's below 100 minerals right now.
Great snipes here against those High Templars. No Storms going off. Here comes the army for MadBull. The Bull is charging once again, and he has to. He needs to defend his bases, but it looks like he's going to lose this one.
Yeah, Byun has built such a great composition. He's facing a Zealot-heavy gateway army, and every snipe counts, even against the Zealots, you know, if he can get those. Killing some probes here as well, which actually may help MadBull make a better army, but still, you know, he wants to continue to build that bank if he can. Another Zealot run by going over to Byun's base. This is probably like the 15th one that we've seen this game.
Yeah, he's always using those units. He's losing a lot of minerals here, but that's one thing that he can definitely afford. More and more of them are now heading towards the 3rd base, as you can see. But the Bull lost one of his bases. We have him now trying to claim another one at the bottom left of the map.
Yeah, he can send his probes over there whenever he's ready. The Nexus is complete. And more EMPs being used here, but he's trading. He's trading well. He's trading fairly evenly with these DTs and these Zealots, and he has the better bank, and it's still growing with that new base he's got at the left side of the map as well.
Exactly. It's definitely showing. Byun feeling like a cowboy right now, trying to tame the Bull, but MadBull is really going for it. The Protoss player playing a really good game here. And forget it completely what we said earlier on. MadBull proving that he is definitely able to keep up with Byun in the late game. And it's actually Byun who will start to struggle if he doesn't get another base.
Yeah, absolutely true. Byun is on his last legs. He's been turtling hard. He's been playing this the best he could when the situation he was given where, you know, he was on the back foot, he was down on economy. He waited, he was patient, he always had the better concave. He was trying to build that ghost count, you know, the ghost and Viking count, exactly what he needs to fight MadBull's army. And now this is his last push. I feel if he doesn't actually crush MadBull here, that's going to be the end of it. He can't afford to make another army.
Oh, and there comes another run by the Zealots running in. The Marines finally taking charge. The stim is good. Moving in, the EMP doesn't hit anything but air. And the unit's retreating, and here comes the Templar.
Oh, the Storm! Oh, he's going to be able to hit whatever. Well,
nice.
Good
Well done.
snipes there. But
Really good map awareness.
Byun's going for another attack. He's going to go for this base. He's going to hit it very hard. And MadBull's bank is starting to evaporate a little bit. The ghosts are very exposed on the right side, however.
The ghosts on the right side, they're trying to take a bit of a detour here. A nice warp in. He blocks the retreat path of his opponent. And suddenly the Medivacs have to help out. That was so well done by MadBull. I really love this.
Yeah.
He warps in units, blocks the retreat path, and then suddenly Byun is looking at this and with a perfect reaction, loads into the Medivacs and gets the hell out of there.
Yeah, oh, great warp in wall there. MadBull now has too much. Byun went for a big attack. It was unsuccessful, and he was too preoccupied with the attack that was at his third once again, and now MadBull looks ready to end it. The Bull is going for the final charge. He's got a maxed out army. He knows Byun is down on supply. He's got significant base defenses up, and he can just go end this game whenever he's ready.
A 50 supply lead for MadBull. He's depleted his resources. He's trying to move in right now. And Byun is still building a lot of Vikings. He's down to 11, and he needs a few more since there are 10 Colossi by now. MadBull really going for this heavy composition that he has. A huge death ball, and he is already taking down more bases of Byun. The Prime player is really starting to be very, very low, especially on minerals.
Yeah, and Keller, we're talking there are 10 Colossi.
Yeah.
This is not Pros versus Pros. There's almost as many Colossi as there are Vikings. There are 12 Vikings on the map. The Ghost count for Byun still really high at 23, but Ghosts, they have a lot of hit points, but they're not big on the damage, and that's what Byun needs.
And once again, the Zealot run by in this command center is toast. Bam.
This is looking worse and worse for Byun all the time. He loses the command center, like you said. That was an important base, but he knew he couldn't even send SCVs over there.
MadBull doesn't stop. This is such an impressive play from the young Protoss player. He sends another force over, just trying to distract Byun and make sure that he has the better position on the map. He has such a good economy, MadBull that is. It's brilliant for him, and he takes down the rest of the Harvesters to the right side. This is the last mining base for Byun.
Byun wants to go for another engagement. Feedbacks take out several of his ghosts instantly.
That is so well executed by MadBull. He needs to take one of those fights. The High Templars trying to move in for the Storms to shut down these Vikings.
Yeah, good Storm hits the Vikings once again. One thing I will say is he didn't get the shield upgrades, which is a little bit weird. But here we go. Vikings going in for the engagement. A good concave for Byun. But there's just way too much gateway units.
The Terran player is being slaughtered here. Most of the Vikings are already gone. Byun drops below 100 supply. MadBull is charging in. He has Byun on the horns, and the Terran player is going to die if he is not able to push this back and also deal with the reinforcements.
Yeah, he may be the MadBull, but he's riding Byun here, and Byun is bucking like crazy.
Byun winning this fight, but he is still down 40 supply, and the money that we have on the bank of MadBull, this is just way too much. He can warp in units again, and that's exactly what he does. GG. Byun.